The average age someone becomes a homeowner for the first time has changed over the years, and the reasons why will surprise you. With various factors influencing this trend, we'll take a look at the shifts as well as examine why homeownership is one of the best investments you can make. My name is Chris, and I help teach people about money, personal finance, and investing. If you're interested in improving your financial future, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this video is helpful. Purchasing a home is a huge milestone in life, and it's often tied to various personal and financial factors, such as career stability, settling into a location, increased disposable income, and sometimes plans for starting a family. But is there a specific age by which these factors should fall into place? In 2022, the average age for first-time homebuyers rose to 36, according to the National Association of Realtors, up from 33 in 2021. Back in 1981, first-time homebuyers were usually around 29 years old, but by 2022, that average age jumped to 36. A lot has changed since the early 80s, like skyrocketing home prices, the average home size increasing, and the weight of student loan debt, making it harder for younger people to afford a home as quickly. Many are waiting until they're more financially secure before taking the plunge, which explains why the typical first-time home purchase now happens later in life. But costs aren't the only thing influencing this trend. Not surprisingly, homeownership rates vary depending on where you are in the country. In 2022, West Virginia had the highest homeownership rate in the United States, with 78% of its residents owning their homes. This high rate reflects the state's more affordable housing market and a lower cost of living compared to many other regions. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Washington, D.C. had the lowest homeownership rate at 45%. The steep property prices and high cost of living in the nation's capital contribute to this lower rate, as many residents opt to rent instead of buying. Younger generations aren't prioritizing homeownership like their parents and grandparents did, as these younger people tend to prioritize experiences over buying property, focusing on travel, personal growth, and lifestyle flexibility rather than the traditional path of buying a house. Rather than be burdened with the challenge of not only buying a home but taking care of it, it's just more work than they want to take on in many cases. Many millennial and Gen Z individuals view experiences like exploring new places or pursuing passions as more enriching than owning a home, which comes with long-term commitments and means being tied down to one spot. This shift in priorities is partly driven by rising home prices and other economic challenges, like inflation and the rising cost of living, but it also reflects a cultural change. The younger generations are placing more value on traveling and having unique experiences, rather than following in their parents' footsteps of buying a home, settling down, and starting a family, where those activities become much more challenging to do. Understandably, people are becoming more and more hesitant to pursue homeownership due to the significant upkeep involved. Maintaining a home requires time, money, and effort, from regular repairs and landscaping to unexpected issues like plumbing or roofing problems. For those already managing busy careers and social lives, the demands of home maintenance can feel overwhelming, especially if they've never dealt with that before. The last thing they want to do is deal with unexpected repairs when they get home from work by either resolving the issues on their own or vetting potential repairmen to do the job. Yard work and household chores can also be overwhelming with busy lives. The financial headache of these ongoing maintenance costs leads many younger individuals to opt for renting, which provides fewer responsibilities, and as a renter, you know exactly how much you'll be paying each month, with no surprise repair bills. This reluctance to take on the upkeep associated with owning a home reflects a broader desire for convenience in a lifestyle with fewer obligations. Many young people are delaying homeownership because the financial commitment is simply too overwhelming. Rising home prices, relatively high mortgage rates, combined with increased cost of living and slower wage growth makes becoming a homeowner a major hurdle. Additionally, mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs add up quickly, making homeownership feel out of reach for many. For those carrying significant student loan debt, the prospect of taking on a mortgage can seem particularly daunting. As a result, many young adults are choosing to rent or stay with family longer before taking on such a significant investment. The Federal Reserve reports that the median home price is around $412,000. If you make a 5% down payment and have a 6% interest rate, your monthly payment, including average taxes and insurance without HOA fees, will be over $3,100. On top of that, you'll need to budget for utilities, maintenance, and repairs, which could easily add another $500 or more each month. Add these two together, and you're over $43,000 per year just in housing costs. To qualify for a mortgage on a home at this price, you'd need an annual income of about $100,000. However, once you factor in income taxes and other financial obligations you're responsible for, that $100,000 might not even be enough to comfortably afford a home of that price. If you and your spouse both make $100,000 combined, it's like one of your entire salaries would be going solely towards housing costs due to the size of the expense. Generally speaking, the sooner you buy a home, the wealthier you'll be, provided your homeownership costs are comparable to renting when all is said and done. As of 2022, the Federal Reserve reported that the median net worth of renters was roughly $10,000, whereas homeowners had a much higher median net worth of $396,000. When you buy a home early on, you're potentially jump-starting your retirement and adding a substantial amount of value to your net worth. Owning a high-quality home in a desirable, growing area of course means that its value will probably increase over time. If a $400,000 home increases in value just 3% per year on average, that's $15,000 in year one. Not a bad return on a small down payment. In fact, it will likely dwarf any stock market return, with all else being equal. Looking at a short time frame like 6 months, 1 year, or even 2 years, this isn't always the case, but just take a look at home prices over the decades and you can see how much they've risen. Mortgage paydown is another large benefit. Although small at first due to the fact that mortgages are front-loaded with interest, the principal paydown accelerates with every passing month. Inflation can really be beneficial for those with a fixed-rate mortgage in several ways. With a fixed-rate mortgage, monthly payments remain constant despite rising prices, which means that as inflation pushes up wages and prices, the mortgage payment takes up a smaller portion of your income over time. Inflation erodes the real value of money, so the debt you owe becomes less significant in real terms as time passes. This means you're repaying your mortgage with money that's worth less than when you borrowed it. Moreover, inflation often leads to increased property values, which can boost your home's equity, potentially offering a higher return if you decide to sell. As long as your income rises with inflation, the overall impact of a fixed-rate mortgage becomes more manageable and advantageous. In contrast, renters face steadily increasing rental prices year after year. When you buy a house, you don't have to handle all the expenses on your own. Bringing in a roommate can really help out. For example, let's say you buy a house with a monthly mortgage payment of $3,000. If you get a roommate and charge them $1,000 per month, you're cutting your portion way down. Imagine the difference it could make. Instead of managing $3,000 on your own, you're only responsible for $2,000. Even better, bring in another roommate paying $1,000 per month. Not only does this make homeownership much more affordable, but having a roommate also means you get some extra company and shared responsibility for household chores. It's a practical way to ease the financial burden and enjoy the perks of owning a home, because let's be real, doing it all yourself isn't easy. Homeownership isn't the best financial move for everyone, but for those who meet the right criteria, it can be a great investment. Sure, you have to be smart about it and play your cards wisely, but it can be incredibly rewarding. Paying down a mortgage with deflated dollars while owning an appreciating asset can offset many of the costs over time, making it a worthwhile option in the long run.